I love Metroidvania games, and while I don't feel it's a niche like genre, I do feel that it doesn't get as much attention as it deserves. You know, at least from like some of the big AAA companies, you know. Yeah, we get a ton of like indie Metroidvanias, but it's besides the point. So I wanted to share 6 Metroidvania games that I like that aren't Metroid or Vania, but they're Metroidvania games. This first one is probably feels the most Metroid out of all of them, and I don't so much mean like the space sci-fi-ness of it, but just like with like the super suit and the abilities that you get and whatnot. But that would be, of course, Shadow Complex. I originally played this on the 360. I had downloaded it from the Xbox Live Arcade, and I was actually quite shocked. When I first started playing it, I thought it was like just a typical like side-scrolling shooter game. But I very quickly realized that no, this is a Metroid game. You're just on this island and you find this like secret facility that this like organization has. I don't remember if it's like a military or what, but they have all these like weapons and stuff that they're developing, and there's this suit that has been like scattered on the island. As you progress through the game, you gather pieces of this suit and become more and more powerful, and you're just trying to like find your girlfriend or wife. I don't remember what she was, but you're trying to find her and get off this island, and you ultimately have to take down this big like military organization, and it becomes quite epic. Like, I am so disappointed that it never got a sequel. Like, I remember actually being pretty popular on the 360, and I'm so glad that it got like a physical release. It was through limited run games, but still, like, I would highly recommend this. It should be available digitally on like everything. Well, I say everything, but I don't think it's on Nintendo, but PS4, Xbox One, Steam, it should be on there. I would highly recommend this. This is like the closest thing I've found to like a just straight up Metroid, because I feel like most Metroidvania games I've played don't have guns. This one does. I recommend it. Play Shadow Complex. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This is on everything. I mean, it's not out on Switch 2, but it's on Switch 1, PS4, Xbox One, PS5, Series X, Steam, well, probably, I don't know. But I got into Prince of Persia with the Sands of Time. I feel most people did. Like, the game was huge. That was very much a like action adventure type game. And, you know, I didn't care for the Warrior Within or the Two Thrones too much. I mean, I liked them, but Sands of Time was like my favorite Prince of Persia game. And then you get into like that weird 2008 reboot, and then the Forgotten Sands, which was kind of like a movie tie-in. I mean, it took place between Sands of Time and Warrior Within, but it was still it was a glitchy mess. I remember that. But you know, fast forward, you know, after those two games, there was like a period of nothing for Prince of Persia, and eventually we got The Lost Crown, and they decided to make it a Metroidvania game. And like, Sands of Time was my favorite, but I would put this up there right with Sands of Time. I like it that much. The story was so interesting because like you don't even technically play as the Prince of Persia. I mean, not that I want to spoil the story, but like you just play as like I think he was like a guardian. I don't remember. His name's Sargon, and you're basically trying to save the Prince of Persia, and you wind up on this island or this place where time is all messed up, and like once you get separated from your group, they'll literally like walk off screen, and then you'll run into the guy and he'll be like, it's been years since I've seen you, but it's like been like 10 seconds. What are you talking about? So some of the powers you get are like time based, which is no surprise. Like Prince of Persia seems very like attached to time travel. It's a fun game. It does have its flaws. It is a Ubisoft game, unfortunately, so it does have glitches. Like I made it most of the way through this game. Like, I got damn near to the end, and then I don't have any footage for it, but I fell in this pit, and I just didn't die. And like, you're supposed to die when you fall in a pit, right? Well, I fell in there, and I just didn't die. And I eventually managed to get out of there by like fast traveling, and turned out I had hit a glitch that gave me invincibility. I don't know how I did it, but I had this invincibility glitch. So I was like, I'm just gonna go beat the final boss. So I managed to beat the final boss with invincibility because it was glitched. I mean, I think it's been patched since then, but it was so weird that out of like how glitchy some of these Ubisoft games can be at times, that I got a glitch that made me invincible. How fortunate was that? But yes, like I highly recommend this. Like I like that it was a 2D Prince of Persia game because that's actually how Prince of Persia started, was like a 2D puzzle game. And this almost kind of like harkens back to that. So like I said, I highly recommend Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This is another one that's probably well known, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. But that's The Messenger. This is a interesting one, not so much because of the fact that it's a Metroidvania game, but I'll explain. So it has an 8-bit art style, you know, makes it look like a retro game, and it very much feels like they tried to make a Ninja Gaiden game. It's very linear in the beginning. It's literally like you're playing a Ninja Gaiden ripoff, and that's not, I'm not saying that to be knock on the game or anything, but you'll get to a certain point in the game, and this is kind of spoiler, kind of not, but there's this point in the game where you go into the future, and that's when it becomes a Metroidvania game, because it starts off linear and then turns into a Metroidvania game. But the thing that makes it so unique isn't so much the like, you know, the let's switch between linear and open world, but it's the graphics, because when you're in the past, it's an 8-bit game, but when you go into the future, they make it 16-bit. And that's such a unique, like, attention to detail that I feel a lot of games miss the mark on. It's like, I didn't even really notice it at first till I saw a review and somebody pointed it out, and I was like, oh yeah, I would highly recommend this game because it is a fucking fantastic game. Like, it's like Ninja Gaiden Metroidvania. What's better than that? So, you know, this video is 6 Metroidvania games that I like. Why 6? That's such a random number. Well, these two I just wanted to include together. Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori Will of the Wisps. Like, these games are like fantastic. Between like the art style and like just the solid gameplay, they are like fantastic. They're known for having kind of an emotional story, and like I didn't get emotional over it, but I can see why some people did, and I don't want to spoil any of it if you haven't played it. The art style is just gorgeous. It literally looks like somebody hand painted it. One of the unique mechanics about this game is actually the like the fact that you can just create like a save point, or not a save point, but like a respawn point, and then whenever you die, you just respawn there. I died quite a bit when I played those games, so that's such a unique and helpful feature to have. Unfortunately, I didn't feel the combat was that great in the first one, but in the second one, they improved it because they gave you like an actual like melee attack. Like in the first one, you have like a homing attack that you can use. These are on Xbox as well. It's kind of sad that they didn't come to PlayStation, but I would highly recommend these. I'd recommend the Xbox version solely because the Xbox is more powerful hardware. I'd highly recommend both these games. These are probably like up there as some of the better Metroidvania games out there, like, or as some of the must play. The last game that I have, and as I was like getting ready to talk about this, I realized how many games I've actually talked about that have time mechanics in it. You know, The Messenger, Prince of Persia, and now Time Spinner, another time Metroidvania game. Yeah, this one probably feels more Castlevania than Metroid to me, just the way the combat is. You can equip like 2 different like weapons or spells. This one actually was interesting. I didn't realize when I was playing through it that there were actually like multiple endings, and it gave me a very like Chrono Trigger vibe to it. It does have a like classic like 16-bit art style, so it feels like it could be on a Super Nintendo. And the whole story, not to get too deep into it because I don't like really giving spoilers, but it is like your family's killed in front of you and you're more or less out for revenge. Like, I would definitely recommend this. The only problem with that is, like, yeah, you can download it on the consoles, but if you want a physical copy, the Switch version is unfortunately kind of pricey. But PS4 version wasn't terrible, but if you want a physical, definitely jump on it while you can before it's like hundreds upon hundreds of dollars, like some games wind up being. But yeah, that's 5 games. I'm more than likely going to do another episode at some point. So let me know of other Metroidvania games that you've played that you like that aren't Metroid or Vania. But thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.